911, what's your emergency?
He's acting crazy. He killed all the others.
Who killed the others?
Let's be honest for a second. Are you tired of elevated horror? You know the type. The movies where the ghost isn't actually a ghost, it's just a metaphor for generational trauma. Or where the ending is so ambiguous, you have to read 3 video essays just to figure out if the main character died or just needed a nap. If you are nodding your head, then January 2026 just dropped a gift right in your lap. It's called Primate, and it is absolutely not interested in your trauma. It wants to rip your face off. Welcome back to Frameshift. Today we are dissecting the movie that just saved the creature feature from extinction. We need to talk about Primate. This film is a fascinating case study. On the surface it looks like a standard animals attack B-movie. But when you look under the hood, or under the fur in this case, you realise Paramount Pictures just pulled off a massive strategic gamble. And it worked. Directed by Johannes Roberts, the guy who gave us 47 Meters Down, this movie is a total rejection of the slow burn horror trend. Roberts didn't want to make an art film, he wanted to make a roller coaster. The premise is ruthlessly simple. We have a high-tech modernist sanctuary in Hawaii. We have a family, and we have Ben. Ben is a chimpanzee, but he's not just any chimp, he's a celebrity pet raised by a linguist capable of communicating with a digital soundboard. He's family until a mongoose bites him. Now here is where the movie asks you to suspend your disbelief just a little bit. Yes, rabies in Hawaii is geographically improbable. The movie knows it, the characters know it, and honestly, you shouldn't care. Because once that infection takes hold, the movie shifts gears from a family drama into a siege thriller that feels like it was ripped straight out of 1981. Think Cujo, think Shakma. But here's the first major twist that separates this movie from every other CGI fest you've seen in the last 5 years. Look closely at the screen, that chimpanzee. Ben, that is not CGI. In an era where Hollywood plasters over everything with digital effects, Primate did something radical. They hired a movement specialist named Miguel Torres Umba and put him in a practical suit. Why does this matter? Because your brain knows the difference. When you watch a Marvel movie or even the newer Planet of the Apes films, there's a tiny part of your subconscious that knows the animal isn't really there. It has a digital sheen, it glows slightly in the dark, but in Primate, Ben has weight. He interacts with the light. When he grabs a character, the physics are real. Critics are calling the suit a rare modern feat of practical effects because it allows the monster to be erratic. Ben doesn't move like a human, and he doesn't move like a cartoon. He moves like a quadrupedal ball of muscle that is losing its mind. It makes the violence feel heavier. It makes the threat feel tangible. And speaking of violence, we need to talk about the rating. This is a hard R. Paramount didn't cut this down to PG-13 to sell more tickets to teenagers. They leaned into the gore. There is a scene with a local vet involving a face removal that sets the tone very early. It's a warning to the audience. Nobody is safe and the camera is not going to look away. But it's not just about the blood, it's about the geography. The film does something brilliant with its setting. The house is a fortress designed to keep people out. But once the killer is inside, that fortress becomes a cage. There is a standout sequence in an infinity pool that is pure anxiety fuel. Here's a fun fact. Chimpanzees are hydrophobic. Their muscle mass is so dense that they sink. They are terrible swimmers, so the characters retreat into the water. They are safe in the pool, but they are freezing, tired and trapped. Meanwhile, Ben just stalks the perimeter. It creates this terrifying stalemate of resource management. How long can you tread water before you drown, and is drowning better than what's waiting for you on the deck? But let's pause for a second. Usually in these types of movies, the humans are just meat waiting to be processed. And sure, Primate has its fair share of douchebag victims. You know the ones. The obnoxious friends introduced solely so you can cheer when they get taken out. However, the film plays a very clever card with its casting. They cast Troy Kotsur as the father Adam. You know Troy Kotsur, he won an Oscar for Coda. He is a deaf actor. This isn't just stunt casting, it changes the entire mechanics of the horror. The director uses Adam's deafness to weaponize sound, or the lack of it. There are sequences where the audio drops out completely. We are in Adam's perspective. We see the chaos, but we hear nothing. It creates this incredible tension where the audience knows the monster is right behind him screaming, but he has no idea. It forces you to scan the frame for visual cues. It subverts the cheap, loud noise jump scare trope that cheap horror movies rely on. It turns the movie into a study of communication breakdown. Think about it. Adam can't hear the warnings. The friends are too panicked to talk. And Ben the Chimp is using his soundboard to say things like Lucy bad while he hunts them down. That is the psychological horror underneath the gore. The animal isn't just killing them, he feels betrayed by them. He's confused, sick and violent, but he's still using the tools of humanity to express his rage. It's a Frankenstein story. We tried to domesticate nature, we gave it a voice, and now it's using that voice to tell us it wants us dead. So, does the movie have flaws? Absolutely. If you go onto Reddit right now, you will see a war in the comments section. Half the people are praising the practical effects and the other half are screaming about how dumb the characters are. And they aren't entirely wrong. There are moments where you will yell at the screen, why didn't they grab a weapon sooner? Why did she run to the wrong car? Critics have pointed out that the script, written by Roberts and Ernest Rera, is stripped down. That is a polite way of saying the character development is thin. The final girl, played by Johnny Sequoia, does a great job with the physical acting, but we don't learn much about her other than she's a student. But here is the real question. Does it matter? Primate opened to $13.4 million against a modest budget. That is a massive win for a January release. It beat the projections. Why? Because audiences are craving meat and potatoes horror. We have spent the last few years watching 3-hour epics and complex multiverses. Sometimes you just want to watch a movie that is 89 minutes long, has no subplot, and delivers exactly what the poster promised. It's efficient, it's mean, and it's fun. Critics described it as a surgically well-made shocker. It knows it's a B movie. It's not trying to win Best Picture. It's trying to ruin your next trip to the zoo. And the ending, I won't spoil the exact mechanics of the final kill, but I will say it reinforces the theme perfectly. It's man versus nature, and nature doesn't care about your feelings. It ends on a note that is both tragic and chilling, reminding us that Ben was a victim of human hubris just as much as he was a monster. So what is the verdict? If you are looking for deep philosophical questions about the human condition, go watch something else. But if you miss the days of the 80s when horror movies were practical, visceral, and just a little bit nasty, Primate is a must watch. It proves that you don't need $200 million and a team of CGI artists to scare people. Sometimes you just need a really good suit, a lot of fake blood, and a director who knows how to tighten the screws. Now, I want to hear from you. Does the idea of practical effects make you more likely to see a movie, or do you think CGI has gotten good enough that it doesn't matter anymore? And seriously, would you survive the pool scene? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps the channel, and subscribe for more deep dives into the good, the bad, and the bloody of modern cinema. I'm signing off. Check your locks and maybe stay away from the monkey house.